Hi, everybody. Welcome to a quick little market update live stream. Going to give it a few minutes for people to get in, and then me and Storm, you also known as Blicky, who also no one's watching at this moment. Let's see. So we get some people on here. Let me
We
make
need
sure
some
this is.
for next stream. We need some good intro music.
Yeah, this is real basic. There we go. Okay, I just saw it pop up. We're just waiting for a couple of people. Wait for some people to fill in. Let's do a quick little market show. Go over how Bitcoin's doing, Ethereum, talk about some trades. And if anybody has any questions or things that they want to ask, feel free to drop a comment in the live chat. Maybe I could add in here. I could edit over. Let's wait for a few more people to load in. What's Bitcoin at right now? I saw like 62,000.
Bitcoin is currently at 61K, but it did touch almost 63,000. So kind of crazy, man. I mean, you know what they say. It's the market's like a slingshot. When it falls down fast, it comes back up even faster. So
One second. Open and comment any questions you have. All right, I'm trying to get this to change for that comment thing, but it's fine. It's not going. And okay, I got a couple people loading in over here. Just here with Storm of Storm Trading, or as you know him as Blicky. We're start doing some live streams where we just talk about how the market is doing, do some analysis, and if you have any things that you want analyzed or any questions about what we go over in the live stream, drop a comment. We see it live, and we can go ahead and answer that and discuss it as well if it's something that is on topic. So Blicky, let's start off with your thoughts right now on where the market is, um, how you're feeling about everything.
yeah. As a summation of kind of my overall thoughts on Bitcoin right now is I think I'm continuing to be bullish on the market overall from a high term perspective. Obviously, if some of you guys don't know, I am a swing trader. So I look at the market from a macro perspective. So from a macro perspective, if you zoom out, I don't know if you can share my screen, Bloodboy,
Yeah,
but if you
let me go
pull
ahead
that
and
up.
share your screen over there. Hold on one second. Let's move this over here. We got move this to here, and we're going to turn your screen on right now.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is my current chart. I use TradingView to kind of chart, and then use Femex to trade. This is a daily chart, so this is pretty zoomed out, right? So you can see this was the start of the bull run back in November of 2022. What we've been doing, right? If you really zoom out, I'll actually go to a weekly chart so you guys can get a little bit better of an idea. But this is this bull cycle, right? That we're currently in, about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half into. We're obviously
What's
on a
the
little
date over there? What's the date over there
right
that
here.
you start your flag from?
I would start my flag from right here. So Typically a
Okay.
flag, it's not necessarily this entire movement. It's where you'll see like a very extended, like extreme move up. So if you looked at it from like a weekly chart, I would draw the bottom of the flag from this point right here, just because we saw a lot of consolidation for like a couple months in this time period between December and January. But if you zoom out from like a really high term time frame perspective, you could technically say this is a bull flag. I personally want it because you know there's a lot of consolidation in here, and when you're trading a bull flag, the pole of the flag per se is important because that actually gives us breakout targets for when we break out of the downward sloping channel. So, and I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to give you guys like an overall view because a lot of people forget to do this, right? I'll actually even take off this fixed range as well. So if we just look at the naked price action, right? This looks like a very bullish chart. You know,
Okay.
no wonder we had like a little bit of a retracement here, right? Like we've been on almost a pure up for a year, over a year straight. We were just, you know, volatile straight up. We knew something like this was coming, right? And so when you get this consolidation, you get these big drops to the downside. The next question you would be asking is, you know, where do we look for a market to bounce? Because if you look at last bull cycle, right? Let's see how much of a drop this was. Before we made that last high, we had, I want to say like quite a big drop. That is, oh, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so almost a 60% drop to the downside. So 55% drop to the downside. So we had a 55% retracement on Bitcoin before we made new highs last cycle. So similarly, right, when we were down here, we had these like absolute
Mm-hmm.
God candles to the downside, which you can see this is a weekly chart. So within 2 weeks, we dropped maybe 40%, right? Again, I remember this point. This is, I actually started trading crypto like right before here towards this first top. I remember the state of the market back then. Everyone was saying Bitcoin was going to zero. This was some of the first big bank runs in crypto. But anyway, super bearish down here, like in terms of market sentiment. You have these massive candles and liquidations to the downside, and then a big move up, right? Similarly, just when you talk about market sentiment, one of my biggest indicators is when the market gets overly bearish or overly euphoric. I like to trade the opposite of that. So like it's funny, I made a tweet about this. So one of the big longs I made beginning of January, I basically called the bottom of this move right here. I took a long from here all the way up to 70K. And part of the reason that for me doing that is because we had the um, largest liquidation event in crypto history since the FTX collapse. And what was really interesting to me
What
is that
date was that liquidation?
and that's what's interesting. The FTX collapse was right here. So you see this massive red candle to the downside. This was the very end of October, November. This liquidation wick was from the FTX collapse, and the amount of fear in the market at that time was insane. Like you had people legitimately saying cryptocurrency and Bitcoin as a whole was over, right? It's a scam. All the largest cryptocurrency bank and investment firm in the world really at the time was basically a scam. It was a fraud, right? And so many people lost money, but at the same time, that marked the exact bottom of this entire bull run, right? And so similarly, when I took this long right here, this was the largest liquidation event in the history of Bitcoin since the FTX collapse, which called the very bottom. And so that market sentiment wise was part of the reason I got into this long. There were definitely some technical reasons as well, which I'll go over in a second. But actually, what's funny is the only bigger liquidation event now since this one was what happened a day or two ago, right? This last liquidation event that happened over the course of a couple of days. And so again, my mind is naturally triggered just being in the market for so long. When I see these massive amounts of liquidation and everybody just absolutely throwing their bags away and selling and saying Bitcoin's going to zero, World War III is coming, I'm going to look for a long, right? And so now, once I have the market sentiment behind me, I want to look for technical reasons to get in, right? And so I did enter a long here. This was my long that I've had drawn out now for a couple days. From a technical standpoint, We have the CC, so the 618 Fibonacci, which is one of my favorite tools, top 3 tool right here. What this is basically charting is the percent retracement on a big move up. So you had the big move up from this low to this high, right? Which this is a high term time frame swing period. And the retracement that you're looking for a balance is at the 618 in that golden pocket. So between 61.8% and 66% retracement to the downside is where you see a lot of bounces in the cryptocurrency market. The other piece of really big confluence in that area is this downward sloping channel, right? So this is a channel I've had drawn out for quite a while. I drew this connecting this low to this low, and then from the top of this channel. One thing when I draw channels, which is a little bit different than how a lot of people do their technical analysis on channels,
Yeah, it's interesting.
I look for confluence at the midpoint, because the midpoint is should be a very strong level for where people take profit. So I like this downward sloping channel because you've seen a lot of respect and taps of this area at the midpoint, right? So this is a channel I've had for a while. Again, this was actually another confluence for the last long I took, touched it to almost the exact dollar. So you see from this low to this low, almost the exact dollar. We're seeing another bounce on the bottom of this channel. From a technical standpoint, when you see a bounce from the bottom of a channel, you're looking to at least the midpoint for the first take profit, and then most likely the top of the channel. So this was the long I took for a couple of reasons. You also have 50K, $50,000 psychological level, which is a huge level. Psychological levels in crypto, I think, are really big because you have a lot of non-institutional traders in crypto. And a lot of times when you have non-institutional traders, their take profit levels are based on big round numbers, right? So if they enter along at 50K, they're going to get out of the market at 60K or 55K. So you look for those big round numbers where you'll see a lot of volume transacted. And that was 50K is one of the biggest ones, right? So between that confluence, I was looking for a reaction. I was looking for a daily close back within this channel. It's exactly what we got. So as soon as we got that daily close, I took a long, then went on a nice extended vacation up in the mountains last weekend. So anyways, this was a great long so far. I do want to say though, after I took this long, right, I'm not somebody who longs and then holds to 200K Bitcoin. I'm always scaling out very slowly, so I'll have different take profit levels. Typically, my strategy is to do a take profit 1 at the first big resistance level, take profit 2 where I'll take another 25% at the next highest resistance point, and then my last take profit, I just let this thing run from a very high term time
Can you
frame
go over
perspective.
your take profit lines again? I think
Yeah,
people will find that really interesting. You went a little bit fast, and I think that's something that people are really bad at. I know I could definitely get
totally,
better at taking profits ever. But yeah,
totally.
let's see how you do that.
Yeah. So my first take profit level is this blue line that we just hit. So this blue line I have drawn is a CME gap. For those of you who don't know what a CME gap is, if we go to the futures chart, right? The futures chart is kind of like, or the CME Bitcoin futures chart is kind of like the stock market where it closes. Um, and like when the stock markets close, the CME markets close, which includes Bitcoin CME futures. And so you'll see these gaps, right? This is more of a stock market theory because obviously the cryptocurrency market is 24/7. The stock market isn't. But when you see these big gaps here, there's two parts to this theory. First of all, you expect price to fill that wick. So when price was down here, this gap right here in this area, I'll draw it with a little box. So this gap right here that you can see between market open and market close at the end of the week, you expect price to fill this gap, right? Before it moves down. The other part of this theory is once price does fill that gap, you expect a bounce, right? So I mean, textbook right here, obviously, but what we're seeing is price after we had that open and massive liquidation to the downside, price immediately went up to that CME gap, filled it, and now we're seeing a bounce to the downside. So I drew that line. That blue line is right here. I guess I can draw this out so you can see. This is that blue line on my other chart. I just added it to my Bitcoin perpetual chart. So it's that same line at that same price level. So I drew this line because I was looking for price to fill that line and then get a rejection. There's also a number of other confluences in this area. Let me take off a couple of these things so the chart's not too messy. The other thing that I was looking at in this area was the anchored VWAP. As you can see, that's this blue line. If you guys know VWAP theory, it's basically taking like a VWAP and anchoring it to a low, which is what I did. So that was one part of the confluence. And then, of course, right, one of my favorite tools that I just went over earlier is that 618 CC Fibonacci. So anytime I see like a ton of high term time frame confluence in an area, that's an area for me to short, right? I never trade off of one indicator alone. So I'm never going to see a CME gap and take a short just because it filled that wick. I'm never going to trade off just a CC Fibonacci. I want to see confluence. I want to see multiple tools lining up, telling me the market's going to go a certain direction. So obviously on Twitter, I've been very open about my swing trades. I took a long from down here. This was my take profit 2 on my long. Was a front run of 70K. Obviously, I didn't end up shorting this. Actually, I just ended up closing 75% of my position. Obviously, we got a massive move down, stopped me out of the rest of my 25% of my position, and then I opened up another long at this low on this daily close, and we just hit my first take profit. So that's kind of the trades that I've been in recently. In terms of price targets, right? And this is pretty interesting. I was just talking to Blood about this earlier. But the overall high term time frame pattern we're forming right now is a bullish flag, right? So
Yeah.
actually, I can picture of that. So here's a good chart of what a bull flag looks like, right? You got this very long, extended, quick move to the upside, this downward sloping consolidation, and then textbook wise would tell you a breakout to the upside's coming. And again, this is why I said the flagpole is very important, because typically target wise, you're looking for a 1-to-1 extension from this flagpole. So if you could take
Slow down a little bit for me there over here. So you're saying a 1-to-1 extension, an extension of the flagpole that got us up to this consolidation.
Correct. So I'll show you
Okay.
live on the current chart. But for this, right, you see this, we see some consolidation. We see that quick move to the upside. This would be the pole. We see the consolidation channeling to the downside. From that breakout point of that channel would be a 1-to-1 extension. So basically the length of the bottom to the top of the pole, you'll take that and move it over to the breakout point for your target. So, and this is pretty interesting because obviously 100K is going to be a massive take profit level for me, because it's, first of all, obviously a huge psychological number, probably the biggest one we've seen since 10K.
Where is that target for your take profit first? That first one you were saying?
100K.
Okay.
So for a couple reasons, right? One, I mean, I could go deep into my long high term time frame Elliott wave theory, but I don't think this is
feel
the
like
best
that's a
time.
separate. Yeah, Elliott wave is like a whole. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's a
Whole
bit of
nother
a
thing.
conversation to do.
But just know one of my biggest bullish targets for my Elliott wave count is a front like 95 to 110K. And then 100K is a massive psychological number. And then what's interesting, right? So if you're to look at this big move up, right, I would say this is too much of a chop consolidation period to be part of that flagpole. I would take the flagpole from here to here, right? So I'd say this is our flagpole right here. This is that like volatile, euphoric pump up. There's not really any high term time frame consolidation within this price movement. So this would be my pull. This would be the flag. And so what we would do is we would take that 1-to-1 and we'd wait for Bitcoin to break out of this channel. Obviously, it hasn't broke out yet, so we don't have a breakout point. Let's say it breaks out like mid-August, right? So let's say like August 20th, let's say, right? So let's say if it breaks out August 20th, we take that 1-to-1 extension, that box we just drew, and we put it on top of that breakout point, and your price target would be a little above 100K. So this has 104K. Obviously, we broke out down a little bit more. It'd be closer to 100K. Who knows? We could even reject here off of this midpoint. Obviously, like I said, this is a strong resistance level. We could break out in, late November. Who knows, right? We could channel for a very
Just,
time.
can I interrupt you real quickly on that?
Yeah.
Do
Uh-huh.
you calculate your second portion of the bull flag from the bottom of your channel, or do you look at the top of your channel when it comes to how you do that? That's
Top.
something so you don't consider it. It has to be from the breakout, and the breakout has to come
Right.
out of that channel, and that's where you say, "Hey, I'm ready to go ahead and start calculating this bull flag and saying
Yep.
this is where it's going to go."
That's
Okay,
correct. So
interesting.
what you're doing, and any channel really, but obviously in a bull flag specifically when you're looking for targets, you need that confirmation and that breakout of the channel to look higher for the upside, right? Because right now, textbook would say this downward sloping channel is bullish. I would argue it's more 50-50. What I'm going to trade is the breakout of the channel either way, right? And part of the reason you see these big quick moves up is because, and this is when I could get more into order flow, but this massive wick, obviously a lot of it's consolidations, but there's a ton of volume and people trying to break out trade this channel, right? So as price broke below this low and started to make its way out of this channel, tons of people were trying to short it to catch this breakout move. But when we closed inside of it, we call that trapped traders, because you have tons of people, millions of dollars in volume of people opening shorts trying to catch out the breakout to the bottom side, and now they're trapped underwater on the daily close. And so for me, the reason we get this big move up is because these are liquidations, right? And I actually looked at the open interest chart today, and this big
And
move up was
let's
fueled not
let's
by
real quickly, Blicky, just so people understand why the liquidations make such a strong move up. When you have a short that you're forced to cover, basically you're forced to buy. So that causes a bunch of buys to come in really,
correct.
really fast, and it shoots up in the opposite direction. So that's why you see that really nice
Totally.
green candle, but it's not all the market. I guess it is the market, but a lot of it's just a reaction to the liquidations, which is a cool mechanism of the market.
Absolutely. And so, obviously, and you would need order flow software to really be able to interpret that. Because, like this move right here, just looking at this candle, you don't really know, is this open interest increasing? Is this people opening positions, aka like entering into longs, or is this people getting closed out of their shorts, like you said, having to buy back their position, which would be a liquidation to the upside? And those are two very distinct things to keep track of. Because if a move is fueled by liquidations, it's not as strong, right? So if we get this like
Yeah.
big green candle to the upside, if this was open interest increasing, meaning buying interest coming into the market, that would be different than just short people getting liquidated and wrecked. And so that's another reason why I think this could be a very good short level. Right, exactly where we're at. We got that daily close. What I'm looking for now is either a short term time frame, market structure change, or a bunch of sell volume come in, but not just volume, open interest volume. Which, if you just, a lot of people use Trading View, right? They look at this chart, the volume chart. This doesn't tell you much, in
Yeah.
my opinion, right? So, like, obviously, we got that massive liquidation to the downside, but with this red candle, you can't tell if is this people opening contracts, closing contracts, right? And mainly, obviously, it was more so liquidations. The other reason I can kind of tell that is because it's right at a low. And obviously a lot of people put their stop losses like a dollar or two below a market structure low. So when you get that massive move down, that's people with millions of dollars of stop loss at this low that just got liquidated. So anyways, I high term time frame, I'm pretty bullish. Again, I'm someone who trades by, I react to the market, what the market gives me. Right now, right, my general bias is we're channeling. So if we get up here to the top of this channel and we get like a liquidation move again, we get a ton of people opening longs, and then we close back within this channel, I'm going to short the market, right? Because that's what the market's telling me to do. But if we get a big move out of this channel, we get a daily close and we get a ton of open interest to the upside and it holds in terms of time, that's extremely bullish for me. And I will say, if we can breach like even this high right here, we're going to see an insane short squeeze to the upside, because since March, we've had a ton of volume in the crypto space in general. And and anyone who's shorted since this point, from a swing trader perspective, most of them have not gotten stopped out because we've just made a series of lower lows, right? So anyone who's shorted in this time frame probably has their stop loss right here. And so because we've been trending downwards, we haven't really had a high term time frame stop out. So if we get that crazy move or that move above this high, we are going to see that short squeeze, right? And I've talked about this in my previous videos, which again, I think this might be a future stream because I can go pretty in depth in this. But every bull run ever for Bitcoin, for altcoins, in accordance with Bitcoin, has happened with the break of the previous high on Bitcoin. So anytime in previous cycle, Bitcoin has broke its previous high and it's got that like that crazy wick euphoric move to the upside, that's when altcoin season has started, right? And so I'm banking on the same thing. I think there's no evidence to support that altcoin season has happened or won't happen. And for me, I'm waiting for the same trigger that's happened historically every time, which is the break of that all-time high, and Bitcoin entering price discovery mode. That's when we're going to see a ton of retail come into the market. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So.
Okay, awesome. So we have a few questions. I've got a few questions of my own. I already literally feel smarter just listening to you for, these few minutes. I love the way that you look at things. The first thing over here, when you look at where the chart is, it sort of looks like that bearish flag on that movement because it hasn't gone all the way up in the channel. Are you making any moves right now with where it is? Or are you waiting to see if it goes down or up because it's so indecisive?
So you're talking about if I'm entering any trades with where Bitcoin's at right now?
Yeah, where it's like halfway in the channel, but you
Yeah,
don't know if it's going to continue because if it doesn't, then it's bearish, obviously. But if it
right.
does, there's a possibility.
So obviously, in terms of trades, I have this long open right now. Sorry, I drew that all the way to, this should be kind of up here. I have this long open right now. I took 25% profit. And anytime, by the way, this is alpha. Anytime I do a trade, and my take profit one hits, I'll take at least 25%. And then I'll move my stop loss up to entry. So my stop loss is now here, right? It's right at entry. And so if price gets down
Okay.
to 54K ish, then I get stopped out. I'm guaranteed profit. Ideally, I'd want to see a push to the upside, but this is one trade I'm in. The other trade I'm doing, and this is where it does get a little bit more complex, I would say, is when you enter a hedge position. So overall, high term time frame, I am long term bullish. But again, if the market presents me with a short trade, I'm going to take a short trade. And so what I'm waiting for, I have not taken a short trade on this yet, just because we haven't had price action below the midpoint of this channel. But for me, what I'd be waiting for a short trade, actually, I have this short trade queued up. So this is that short trade I was talking about. I still have not entered. We are getting a nice little rejection, but we still have this midpoint here. And so what I want to see is price get down in this area with a lot of volume and open interest increasing, because what that means is sellers are coming into the market and pushing price downwards outside of that level. So yeah, you're right. Obviously, when you're trading, these resistance and support levels are zones, right? They're not exact to the dollar levels. They're zones. And so the zone I would say is a resistance level is between 60 to 62K, right? So anywhere in like this area from like here, bottom of this midpoint channel, all the way to the like top of the CME gap right here, this is a resistance zone that you expect price to bounce. And we're in that zone right now. So I'd want to see a breakout of that zone to the downside for my confirmation to take that short, which I haven't yet. So I'll definitely post about it on my Twitter, or my X, I should say, if I do enter into that trade. I just haven't gotten the confirmation. So I'm not a trader that sets a level and then takes the trade. I set a level, wait for the level to be hit, and then I wait for the reaction. And if the reaction looks good to me, it meets all my criteria, then I'll take the trade. But I haven't seen the reaction I want yet. So.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So that's a little bit of the market in terms of Bitcoin. We're basically looking to see if it has enough strength to break out of this channel, which looks like a bull flag, to summarize it. And that bull flag would move us up if it breaks out of the channel to around that $100,000 mark. And the more consolidation you have in the market, the stronger the upside is on the breakout. So while it is not fun to grab sideways, it does provide a stronger launching pad and a more sustainable move upwards, which is great. So it's interesting. We're just watching. And I think that's, so would you say that some of the consumer confidence in the market, or the market confidence, and why you have more towards fear and less greed, is just because they don't know the direction of that breakout?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is the thing. Almost always you're going to see a lot of fear before you're going to see a big move up. So, what I always tell people is like, euphoria and greed is the highest at the very top, and fear and FUD is the highest at the very bottom. So, the more the FUD and the fear increases, it makes me more bullish because I know we're getting closer to the bottom. And so, like I said, what was the bottom of this bull run? Or the start of this bull run in the very bottom of last bear market, it was when the FTX collapsed, which was like one of the worst events in all of crypto history. Like I said, everyone thought it was the end of crypto period, and it was literally the start of the bull run. So I think people just in general are scared because, we've seen like a 25-30% retracement on Bitcoin, whatever it was. And so generally people are going to get scared when they see the numbers start to go down. They're going to start to get fearful. They're going to let the influencers on Twitter saying, it's the end of the bull market, which again, I want to remind people, Bitcoin is going to be probably a 4 to 5 year cycle. Or I'd say 3 to 5 year cycle, within that range, right? We're only like a little over a year and a half into this cycle. Regardless of what happens, if we could see a move down to, 34K, I'd still be high term time frame bullish on Bitcoin, because time is very important in these cycles. And historically, they follow a very general but very accurate time set, within a bull or bear market cycle. And so we're still very early. There's no reason for me to be bearish on Bitcoin at all. As you can see, right, if we go all the way back in time to last cycle, I mean, the fear that people had down here was insane, right? And this was a massive drop, almost a 60% drop in Bitcoin before we made new highs. So, yeah, I just think people need to zoom out a little bit. You need to think from a macro perspective. A lot of people are talking about World War III, right, and all that sort of stuff. I don't trade news events. I really don't. And in fact, any experienced trader will tell you that typically news events go the exact opposite way that you think they're going to go. I think most news events get priced in before they happen, or like leading up to the event. And then when the event happens, it always goes the opposite way, right? Because if trading was as easy as waiting for some event to happen, right? Like, let's say everyone knows Trump is coming in 2 weeks to give a super bullish talk on crypto. If it was as easy as waiting for him to give a speech, oh, he's very bullish on crypto, let's enter along and we make money, everyone would make money. But that's not how it works, right? It's much more complex than that. I think news gives volume, it gets volatility. But in terms of direction, I'm a technical analysis guy. I think the charts follow chart patterns, and chart patterns are just human psychology at the end of the day. And so anyways, I think right now there's no reason to be bearish on Bitcoin. We have a long way to go, from a macro perspective. For me, right, I've been in a lot of meme coins. I'm holding a little bit in stables. But mainly, right, I'm just anticipating the next break up, for Bitcoin, and then, I'll scale out accordingly. But yeah, I've been saying for a while now, guys, we're getting primed for that big breakout, that we've been waiting on now for a month or two. So it'll come. It totally will. It's just a matter of time. Price does crazy things, but zoom out a little bit. Look where we are in the grand scheme of things. We're a little over a year and a half into a 4-5 year cycle. The price will correct both ways. But yeah, just make sure, obviously, you guys are staying active, following people who know what they're doing. But yeah, I think it's a great time right now. We got an absolute gift. This drop on Bitcoin right now, and some of these meme coins being down 70%, like Bloodboy, right? I think Bloodboy touched like 400K. Those are buying opportunities for you guys, and those always come right before a big move up. So this is when you should be buying in times like this, where fear is the highest, where Bitcoin's at its low. And then when Bitcoin's at its high and everyone's euphoric, you're in a great position, right? You don't buy the top, you don't buy the euphoria, you buy the fear. So
Yeah, I mean, I love what you're saying about that, that the bottom is when you see the most fear. I can't hear you now.
you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
You get a strange lag over there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Let's see why I didn't get it here. What were you saying about the fear as showing a bottom towards the market? I tend to agree with that. I hate a slow bleed. I hate a slow move. I like to see intense pain and an intense like bottom to the market where everybody's fearful, everything seems to be going wrong. And that provides a stronger support to saying, hey, we found the bottom, like you were saying with FTX. With FTX, it was such a painful event. It's like clear that this feels like something I can use to establish a bottom rather than when you have like, it goes down a little bit. There's no real catalyst. You don't really know if you found the bottom. So hopefully this also gives traders like yourself confidence to start thinking the bottom's in, and more of that upwards movement and the upwards or the long orders are going to come in to help confirm that as a breakout for the channels. So sort of bullish, even though it sounds really bad. Some of the things that are happening from a macro perspective, it's sort of a bullish event that happened this week.
Totally, totally. Like I said, I just think liquidations are a great entry sign. You know, a lot of times you want to see people get wrecked before the price goes the direction you want it to. That's just how the market has always historically worked. So
I love it. So we have some questions. I'm losing you there for some reason, Storm.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes it goes on or off.
Hmm. Okay.
Now I got you again. Maybe it could be just my sound. I don't know. We have some questions here. I want to go over, we'll bring up over here to discuss and answer. And then we can talk a little bit maybe about how this affects the meme coin market, which is where we are, mainly positioned in. Let's see. The first question we got over here is from Bloodish Army. What are the ETH goals for the coming months? What are your goals? I guess targets would be more the better way to ask it. What are your targets for ETH?
Well, my ultimate target for ETH, if I was to take a swing trade, would be all-time highs, right? So Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. You're going to see all of the alts break all-time highs as well. And you actually, I'm looking at the ETH chart. Sorry, this is a really sloppy chart because I haven't charted ETH in a while.
Let me move that chart onto the screen real quickly for us. My ability to act as a producer and a shitty commentator is limited.
Yeah, so I actually have not looked at the ETH
Like a
chart.
blind navigator. Let's do this.
Pull it up.
Hang on.
So,
I'll be running Good Morning America by within a few days, but for now, it's more like what time is it, America?
so you know what's funny, man? You'll hear me talk about this 618 golden pocket so much because it's so good for crypto. Like I'm not. It's such a simple tool, but I'm
It's
not
the
kidding.
golden pocket.
It's the golden pocket, dude. It's so legit. You never. By the way, anyone watching this, don't just throw a 618 golden pocket up on your chart and trade every 618 that you see because you're gonna get wrecked. You're gonna want to trade it with Confluence. But guess what? ETH bounced off of that 618 golden pocket from a high term standpoint, right? As you can see right here. The other zones of Confluence, though, I'm also very big on just general areas of where you see the market bounce. So like basic support and resistance levels. You don't need to be a pro to kind of see where that level is, right? So like I would say right here in this zone, right? This is a great zone of support and resistance. You got to bounce. Well, actually, you could even take it further back, right? Almost to here too, right? Bounce, breakthrough, bounce, bounce, breakthrough, back,
So you
retest,
see a
bounce,
specific
bounce.
structure in the chart that helps show where what once was sort of a resistance level on these two tops now
Yep.
flips to a support level, and it's
Yeah.
at we call it Fibonacci, or as you had a commentator, Fibonacci, the Fibonacci levels, the golden pocket.
Yep.
You see that support, that resistance flip over to support, and then typically that's a great buying zone because it's overextended on the sell-off.
Correct. Yep. Correct. So yeah, I would say on ETH, I'm not going to give my full. I'm not going to do a whole charting analysis on ETH because I basically have to start over from scratch. But this is was a great buying area. Obviously, I didn't take a buy, but bouncing off a very strong support level. But in terms of price targets, right, I'm looking towards all-time highs. We're in the midst, the very like middle, if not even a little less than the middle of a high term time frame bull run, right? Price is going, ETH is going to break its all time high, right? It's not, if this was ETH's high, I wouldn't consider it in a bull run, especially in the crypto market, right? Historically, right, if you look at like Bitcoin, for instance, so if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, in previous bull runs, right, when we break all time highs, so this was like from the not last cycle, but the cycle before, when we broke all time highs from last bull run cycle, look at this move. This is like a, let's see, 607% move to the upside after the breakout at previous high, right? And that's just how crypto works. Crypto is volatile. It'll continue to get a little less volatile each cycle, but we've been like 0.1% of last cycle's high. This isn't even a break of the high. This is like a breach and then rejection of the high. There's no way this is the end of the bull run, right? Same thing with ETH. With
So
ETH, we haven't even broken the last high. So
yeah, so you're saying just so we can make sure we get the call, we've get the answers to the question more specifically. Your next target is going to be the all-time high, and you think that's going to happen after Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, or after like Bitcoin hits that bull flag pattern?
yeah. So if I was taking a technical trade on ETH, which this would have been a very good level, obviously I entered into Bitcoin, not ETH. But if I was to enter on ETH, I would have a take profit level. I can tell you probably right now because I can already see a level of confluence just with the naked eye. So right here, and you know what? I guess we're gonna do a little bit of charting today. It's just that time of day. So we'll go to here. Boom. Okay. Yeah. So if I was to take a long, if I did take this long right here, my first take profit level would probably be the value area low right here, around 3,000. So this zone between this dotted blue line to 3,000 ETH would be a very big resistance line. My take profit two would be here at like the 618 point of control anchored VWAP area, tons of confluence in this area. Around like 3,400 to 3,500. And then my next level would be break of the all-time high. So not even here or here, but way up here is what I would be looking for. But again, I mean, a lot of people either don't understand it or don't like to hear this, but like at the end of the day, if I took this long, I think there's a good chance that we can break all-time highs from here. I think Bitcoin's primed for it. And I think when Bitcoin does break its all-time high, ETH will follow soon after. So in terms of odds, I think there is a very good chance we could get this break the all-time high from this specific bounce. But at the same time, I'm not a trader who, doesn't protect myself. I take profit slowly along the way. I would take profit right here, move my stop loss up, and then let the rest ride, right? But I will say, from like a very high term time frame perspective, this could be a very good level that could be a candidate for the bounce to all time highs on ETH, just from my quick analysis. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, these coins follow Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin's got to break its all time high, then ETH can break its all time high. So
Do
that's
you
really what we're going to want to be waiting for.
so you think that Bitcoin breaks its all-time high and then Ethereum breaks its all-time high? Does that happen before Bitcoin gets to the end of that flagpole, or does Bitcoin get to the end of its flagpole before Ethereum hits its new all-time high?
Sorry, say that one more time. You cut out in the middle of that when you said
So
flagpole.
Bitcoin's all-time high around 74,000. Do you think that Ethereum is going to hit its all-time high between 74,000 and 100,000? Is Ethereum going to hit its all-time high, or will Ethereum hit its all-time high after that 100,000?
Oh, I think ETH breaks out way of its all-time high way before Bitcoin hits 100,000 for sure.
So that means a quicker move. So the first target is very soon. As soon as you see Bitcoin moving out of that channel, soon we see, in the near future, very near future, we would see Ethereum hit its all-time highs. Now, on a longer time frame, we'll just add one more question to this, and we'll go to the next one. On the longer time frame for Ethereum, what's your sort of high goals for the peak of the bull run for Ethereum? Where do you see it going?
You know what? I haven't even done high term time frame analysis on Ethereum, and part of that is because I think everything is really dependent on Bitcoin. So for me, it's not as important to do, like, for instance, an Elliott wave count on Ethereum, because if Ethereum is in its fourth wave and it's in its Elliott wave count, but Bitcoin is topped out and going down, Ethereum is not going to do well either. So I'm more so charting high term time frame Bitcoin to get kind of my high term time frame targets for Ethereum. And it really just depends on where Ethereum's at when I think Bitcoin is topped out.
That definitely makes sense there. And I do want to point out, with everything that Storm is saying about the market, when you see projects and when you see Ethereum or you see meme coin projects and they're down more than they really should be, remember these are tied to the blockchains that they're on, the value that they have. So, like, for example, Bloodboy, we're an Ethereum based project, or Bobo's an Ethereum based project. They're going to have a tremendous move upside, not just because they're oversold because of the fear in the market, but also because they're tied to the value of Ethereum. So the whole idea and the topic of buy the blood, it really gets multiplied. I think it really gets multiplied when you see these really strong upward movements about to happen. And it's not going to last forever. Like, when it feels really bad, that's when you should do the thing that feels painful, which is buy that low, because it's going to disappear shortly. And when it goes flying up, you're going to get not only a lower entry rate on a lot of good projects right now, you're also going to see a upward movement that moves up, and there's more confidence in the market, and there's also more value in Ethereum. So Ethereum in these liquidity pools will give an extra boost to the price.
Totally. I agree.
So the whole, look at these entry points right now with a strong support from the fear that's happening in the market, and look at what historically has happened in this market as a really good place to go buy things that you believe in and projects that you feel are good, or even just buy Ethereum itself.
Yep.
Because
100%.
and it's also great if you're like leverage trading. Even it's better to be buying way more towards the bottom and buying on the way up, because that makes that stop loss harder to put in. But if you have some more wiggle room, you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you have
Well,
more wiggle room by buying now rather than buying when it starts to shoot out of that channel, it's a
yep.
safer trade.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to, like, invalidation points. I hate breakout trading. Like, anyone who's tried to breakout trade any of these lows, like the guys who entered shorts right here, right, this
Wrecked.
big wick, they tried to break out of this channel, right? So we're gonna break out, let's enter a short, wrecked, right? Oh, we're gonna break out, let's enter a short, wrecked. So I honestly, like, counter trade breakout traders. When I see a ton of open interest form at a breakout and a close inside of the channel where they're underwater, it's a great trade to take. And I laugh because Finanachi's in here, obviously. He's a good friend of mine in real life. This dude, because obviously I'd told him I was going to take a long trade down a couple days ago at that level, and he 100x leverage traded 3 Sol with an 80-cent stop loss and was up, I don't know, like 15, 20K, which is dumb, by the way. I don't recommend that. It was stupid, straight degenerate. Literally, the stop loss placement was stupid. Like, no invalidation point. 80-cent stop loss on 100x leverage long with 3 Sol, and he literally got in at the perfect time, like right around here, wherever that was for Sol, and it mooned for him. And he did that like 2 times, I think, back to back, which was the craziest trade I've ever seen. He got so lucky, but he just made a ton of money off of it. So yeah, I mean, leverage trading is scary too. I mean, I wouldn't recommend. I would only recommend leverage trading to professionals who've been doing it for years because it takes a while to get good at. So
like Fibonacci with 3 Solana. Um,
yep,
but it worked out, and it's not a lot of money on the line on that one. But the bigger picture is like look to buy in these boring areas. That's like the lesson is this crabbing, this boring areas, these channels that aren't really doing anything are actually the
yep,
best buying zones. Because if you're buying a breakout, it increases so much the risk of it going the opposite
yep.
way, and you really either losing out on the win or not being able to get anything at all. So the next question we have over here is from Tyler. Let's put this up. This one's more technical. Let's see what we got here. Ask if they ever use chain exposed charts, and I don't know why this is so freaking big. This is the largest.
Fellow dirt biker, by the way, shout out. I just almost died on a dirt bike last weekend.
Yeah, we gonna have to set up a policy about you not killing yourself before the bull run ends. We need you for quanting.
No, for real. I'm not even going to be able to experience all the money we're going to make because I'm going to be dead. So
Yeah, that's the first reason we should think about and worry about is you being alive so you can experience some. No, happy you're
yeah,
doing well. We're supposed to do a live stream a few days ago, and Blicky Storm, I still keep calling you Blicky. Storm used the excuse of, oh, I can't go because I have a concussion. So a bit extreme for canceling on us the first time,
good
but
excuse. It's a good excuse. Guys. Yeah.
the
No,
next time I'm not going to believe you.
yeah, no, I'm back in bullish form, bull mode. Going to be on X a lot more. I want to do these live streams a bunch, dude. I love these things. Are great, dude. These are so much better than what are they called? Spaces.
Yeah, it's been so long since you've been on one. You can't even remember.
Tyler said that bike went off the cliff at Tail of the Dragon. Yeah, I'm from Utah, dude. There's some gnarly trails up here. I was on a single track and also almost went over a cliff myself. So that's I feel you on that one.
So what is let's get this comment answered so I can figure out how to hide it. I don't know why the hell it's so freaking
Yeah, I actually
big.
don't know. I actually don't know the NUPL. I'm not sure what that is. I've never heard of that actually personally. So I can't give a great unless you know what that is.
No, and I need to get a better quant now. I have to ask for the notion
Yeah.
to upgrade.
I'll look that up after this.
Would you say this is related to your concussion, or you just don't know what it is?
You know what? That's what it is. I must have knocked it out of me. I forgot. I guess I knew it. I just can't remember now because my traumatic head injury.
Okay, so there's an asterisk marks. All of his charting is done with the head injury. What is it? CME with CTE.
Yeah, don't listen to me, guys, anymore. I have severe traumatic brain injury.
But your rates for the show, actually affordable after the head injury. Your agent had to lower everything.
Oh man, totally.
Let's see what we got over here for more serious questions. Fininochi is claiming you to be his quant, and I think you're my quant, but he made the long, so he used you better. Let's see what we got over here. Fininochi, let's take a look. And everybody, thank you for tuning in, by the way. It's a lot of fun doing these shows, answering your questions, going on live. Make sure to follow both me and also follow Trading by Storm. Should be a link in the post. I'll actually tag you. I'm going to tag you right now. Storm in there.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to get my Twitter up above me like you did. I figure out how to do that.
Thank you. Okay, so tagged him there. Make sure you follow him, turn on notifications. We have absolutely no set schedule. When things have a confluence and we can get on here, we'd love to go live. We'll be doing a lot more of these, but if you have notifications, you'll be able to jump on and listen when we do them. Um, so over here, Finnochi, what would not have you take a short at current Bitcoin levels? A lot of
Um,
double knots over there. So sort of feels like he's asking you, why
yeah,
aren't you shorting?
well, no, I think he's asking like what would invalidate that short trade to make you not take it. And honestly, very simply, if we break this previous wick, so obviously you zoom in here, this was kind of that rejection from the level I was talking about. If we don't get that influx of negative delta and that selling interest or that opening of selling positions to the downside aggressively, and we get a move up to break that high, then I would not short it. I would say this is also on a lower time frame. If you go to like a 5 minute time frame, if we break that high that I just talked about, that's a continuation of the trend up, and that trade's invalidated. So right now we've had that rejection I was talking about. So the thing that would invalidate it is just a break of that invalidation point, which is the top of that high. So yeah, we'll see. It's just a waiting game at this point. Are we going to see that open interest and that strong negative delta come in to start seeing that selling interest heat up? Then I'll take a short. If we don't see that and price breaks up, I'm not going to take the trade. So
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your answer. And I got a little more details on Tyler's thing that he was asking about. Let me see if I can send you the link real quickly. Hang on.
I think I
I'll
might
send
know
it
what
to you in the other chat so you can take a
one
look
of
at
my
that.
one of my friends, my crypto friends, Bits, might have posted that chart today. Actually, he actually sent it to me in a DM, I believe. And I said, I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. I think that might be what he was talking about. Where is it? Oh, is this
I
it?
just sent you the link, chain exposed.
So you sent me the link on Twitter DMs or?
Oh no, right here in the studio chat.
Oh,
You got
okay.
your Twitter showing, by the way, just to let you know, in
Yeah,
case you
no,
have
I
some
don't.
DMs
This
from the
was
ladies
intentional.
or
Yeah.
or
No, I was gonna
or
show.
Satoshi is telling you when to long Bitcoin and you're part of the ultimate cabal.
That's exactly what I have over there. No, I was gonna show Bits's tweet because I think that's what he was trying to show. Expose. So let's see. Oh, this is like an unrealized profit chart. Okay. So I think what this is showing, because again, going over to this, I'll actually drag this over too, but I think this is the same chart. So this is what you sent me right here, and
Yeah.
then this is tweet I was talking about. I think this is relatively the same thing. So from my understanding, it's just unrealized profits. So um, again, this is speculation just over how I would interpret this. This is when people have, so when price, or when this bar or line spikes up, that means there are a large amount of people who have money in the market who have not taken profit on their positions. I'm assuming long positions. So as you can see, like when it gets up into the red area, that's like obviously tons of people are in profit, and so when they take profit on their spot positions, price would fall inevitably, or they sell, right? Is what I would assume. But from this chart, if we're right here, it looks like we got a lot of room to go. Um, again, tell me if I'm wrong, Tyler, if that's not the right thing, but that's what it sounds like to me. I think that's what Bits was talking about as well. But on Bits chart, as you can see, it looks a little bit more like we're making that high. Bit, by the way, if you guys didn't know, Bits is like a full term bear. So he's big on the bear market. To his I mean, he did call in March, he was talking about the bear market coming, and we've seen obviously big retracement to his credit. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't study this chart very much. I would say this is pretty interesting info to know. Just looking at it. Because you can see like there's a very clear trend from every single bull run. But looking at this chart, it doesn't look like we're anywhere near those highs. Looks like we got a lot of room to go. So, but yeah,
You
I
also
love data like this. I'm a nerd for data, like looking at charts like this and information, and I get nerdy about it. So that's interesting.
it's also interesting how people leave profits off the table at highs and they sell, honestly, they sell at these lows. If you did the inverse of that and you bought at the bottom, which is buying the blood, buying, these projects when they're down and the whole market's down in general, and you took profit at the top, how much more money you would make. But human psychology tells us to not take profit at the top and to sell at the bottom. Just interesting how we sort of work backwards
Yeah, and
on these things.
that chart, by the way, makes a lot of sense. I actually appreciate you sending that in, Tyler, because that's pretty interesting info. I'll have to look more into that. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because when we're at these lows in this green line, that means because this is unrealized profit, which means no one's really in profit. We're not, oh, no one, but like a very small amount of people are under in profit, or a lot of people are underwater, right? When we're down in these points, this would be a good time to buy, right? When no one's in
Yeah.
profit. And then when it's up here, that means tons of people in profit. The market's very pumped. It's overextended. And that's when you'll see the starts of the bear market. So this actually makes a lot of sense to me. I'll have to look more into that, obviously. But that's pretty cool info. He also said, by the way, the difference this time is those ETF. And I totally agree, by the way. I think the whole ETF argument is pretty interesting. A lot of people, for me, right? I think there's going to be such a large amount of volume come into the market this cycle, way more than ever because of the ETFs, and a lot of people. So back a couple months ago, I remember a lot of people were arguing about like, 60%. There was a poll done supposedly, and 60% of the country owns crypto. Like, and this was like a month or two ago when we were topped out in March, and the argument was like, how where is the volume coming from if 60 to 70% of people already own crypto? Well, the thing is, in previous bull runs, right, and in this cycle especially, before the ETFs, the 60%, let's say 60%, which I think is high, but let's say 60% of Americans owned cryptocurrency. Of that 60%, 80 to 90% of that 60% is millennials and younger, right? It's younger generation, people my age, right? I'm 26. Most people who owned crypto are holding like $50 in a Coinbase, right? In Solana or Bitcoin, right? They're
Yeah.
very it's the majority of the wealth in this country and in the world is in the older generations, right? So like the boomer generation and above. And those generations, if you have parents that are around that age, those people don't know. I mean, my parents don't even know how to work Google. So like talking about getting a decentralized wallet, or going on to Coinbase and whatever, just setting all that up and buying cryptocurrency. They think it's so risky. There's so many steps. It's so technologically advanced, whatever. It's just such a high barrier to entry to them. ETFs are great because it's going to bring in that boomer and above generation, more traditional finance, which holds the majority of wealth in this country. So maybe we only go from 60 to 80% peak bull run, but that extra 20% of people that are entering into the market through the ETFs are the people who are holding tons of money. Those are the people who are holding 200K and a treasury bond, or like a S&P 500 if they're feeling really frisky, right? So that is why I think we'll see so much volume, and why ETFs I think are so important. So
I have another thing with ETFs, and I've heard some part of it people say, the other part sort of just my own theory. I'd like to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Storm?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that the people who are going to come into the market are not going to be day traders. They're not going to be, degenerate meme coin traders or looking at the charts every day. They buy some Ethereum. They say, hey, I think there's a 6-month time frame, a year time frame, or just indefinitely I'm going to hold it. And that sort of holding the floor in the markets is going to be very helpful to stabilizing the price. While a lot of the people that are in the market now are moving quicker in and out, when it goes into retirement accounts, eventually when people are trading those ETFs, there's going to be more money that stays in and doesn't leave on a daily basis. There's going
Totally.
to be more long-term traders coming in as those older generations and the quote-unquote normies come into the market, as opposed to the people now who are more aggressive on their trading. And then the other
Yeah.
thing I find interesting is on the ETFs on Ethereum, there's a lot of money to be made by running nodes and by processing transactions. Do you think that the ETFs are going to be sort of loading up on Ethereum because it makes money for them by holding it?
Yeah, totally. I think that's a possibility. I think, yeah, I'm super bullish on Ethereum in terms of like spot holding. I think there's so many use cases for
There's this
Ethereum.
weird glitch over here, by the way, for some reason, just keeps showing you with the pen in front of your mouth.
No, wait, is it showing me moving?
Yeah, now we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ethereum, but also, the altcoin market in general is so important for cryptocurrency. And I think it'll continue to get more diverse. Bitcoin is so important. It's the gold standard. I think it always will be for cryptocurrency. But each bull market, I think the cryptoverse, right, is going to get more and more diverse with different tokens, meme coins being one of them, right? And so, yeah, I think that's totally plausible. I think Ethereum's got a long way to go this bull cycle.
It's awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think it's going to help stabilize everything and just have so much liquidity that moves in, which is going to translate down to the lower caps, and translate right down to the meme coins that a lot of us are in and trading. Easy has another question over here. Do you think that you think that the ETF is going to have your? Okay, so the next question we got here, and we're trying to get to everybody. Remember, our quant is slightly concussed still, so we're working with 75% power.
Yep.
I don't know what this means exactly, but we have a left translated and or we have a right translated cycle.
Yeah, that must have also left when I hit my head. I've never heard of that before. Did he mean translated or translucid? Let's see. Well, let's Google that.
Okay. I
Let's
currently don't have my subscription for Google activated, so I'm gonna let you do that.
huh.
We need like on the Joe Rogan show. What's that guy he has with him always that just
Yeah,
finds
Jamie.
shit? Jamie, yeah, we
Jamie.
need to.
Well, yeah, so I've never heard of left or right translated market. Um yeah, never heard of that. I know a transluted candle, but not a translated market.
Let me see if there's another question over here if he added. Okay, we'll keep going down. I'm sure on the next show he can go ahead and ask that. Tyler, that bike went off the cliff at the tail of the dragon. That does
Mhm.
not sound like a technical question. Feels like more about the traumatic event you went through.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was talking about his bike when I was talking to him earlier. That was from a little bit ago.
Nice. It's a chart of unrealized. Okay, we got Roshni Rao. Hi, how are you doing? Doing pretty good. Blicky, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
Okay, cool. And Gary token. Have a look at Gary Network, please. GARI.
Have a look at Gari Network.
I'm gonna add
Is that a
on.
token?
Let's throw up the screen share over here. Do you have all sensitive and personal information off of your screen?
Oh, mine, yeah,
Search
totally good.
history is cleared.
Yep.
Okay.
You want me to like chart it, or is it like a meme coin?
I have no idea what it is, um, or
Network.
what exactly he wants. But
Hmm.
oh, here, yeah, we have an answer. We have an answer here. Hold on, let me go to the next comment. We need a producer also for the show. I don't know how to get this so it.
He said, have a look at the website. I'm scared to do that. Links.
Don't. It says it's a Web3 streaming platform on Solana with 200 million user base. Have a look at website once. You can just use Google for now. But what are we looking at exactly? I don't know.
It's a Web3 streaming platform on Solana. Streaming, so like video streaming, I'm guessing.
Okay. Well, Roshni, we will take a look at that after the show. I'm not sure what you want us to look at, but we'll look at that platform a little bit more. Maybe they can sponsor the next show that we have. Do we have a way for you to sponsor it? Absolutely not. Do we have a way for you even to send us Solana if you wanted to? Absolutely not. Can you sponsor the show? 100% open to it. Let them know over at Gari Network. I wish there were a few other charts on that too. ZKS. Here's interest. So Tyler's going back to his comment. Let's jump on. I don't know how short positions work with that chart. If they short but price goes up, I wonder if it would push it to losers to catch the squeeze. Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're at the top and you have all that volume, and people are not selling the profits, it's a good time for you to beat the rush. That's where you want to sell, not the top. You just want to sell near the top when you have that feeling of euphoria, when everybody's putting those longs in, because if you don't, then you sort of miss out on that opportunity if you're at the tail end of the movement. Just like right now, when everybody's selling, and people are fearful or they're holding off, you want to get ahead of that train, because once it takes off, then you lose out. So you sort of just use that as an indicator to get moving, in my opinion, before the rest of the market does, because front running a market is how you make the most profit, but not perfection.
Totally.
Okay. All right. Well, this is fun. I mean, this time we did more of a larger, broad market analysis. Maybe next time we take a look at some meme coins. We can look at Bloodboy. We can look at Dodo, Bobo. Do more of the lower cap gems or
Yeah.
the lower cap coins. Some different looks at them, and what you would want to see in a trade. Some ideas from you of how to trade them, and well, a little bit less in the larger market. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, I think obviously I was pretty technical with my analysis, my high term time frame analysis, but that's probably a once a week type of thing, if that, just because it's obviously macro perspective. But I want to do these a couple times a week, so it'd be great if we did more like meme coins centered streams where we can cover our favorite meme coins and all that sort of stuff. That'd be great.
Awesome. And Tyler just updated. I'm saying if ETFs open short positions, that chart might catch pre-squeeze. What's your thoughts?
I'm trying to I thought the last comment might have been about the chart he shared, but I'm not sure. And also can you short ETFs? I didn't know you can short with an ETF. I think that you can only spot buy with ETFs, but maybe I'm wrong, because
Not
ETFs are
sure.
spots, right? I believe ETF is like a spot buy with like a bank or institution. I don't think you can short ETFs. Maybe you can, actually. I don't know. I've never bought an ETF, so um, if
I
ETFs open for position, that chart
um,
squeeze.
we'll have to do a more in-depth conversation with Tyler to get his questions and answers. But they're great questions, and we can do more of it. And it's good education from people. I hope people learn from this stream a little bit about where the market is and this overall general market sentiment. Everything sort of follows it. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, meme coins. It's good to have a macro picture of where things are to get a feeling first. If people want to buy, if people want to sell, what the confidence is when liquidity is returning. So the macro is great to do. I like that idea of doing like once a week. And
Yep.
maybe next time that we do this in a day or two, we'll dive into a couple of fun meme coins. And everybody, go ahead and make sure to like and subscribe to, or sorry, I guess follow, I should say, like and follow both me and also Trading by Storm to get notifications when these live streams are happening. And then in the comments, comment on some of the projects that you might want to see us take a look at and analyze. And
Yeah.
the reason why you want it analyzed, not because you have the community that raids the hardest. This is not this is not a chill space for people to put really crappy comments. But go ahead and write down the coin that you like, and then a question maybe that like maybe a more specific question you have about it and the range or something more technical. And we'll try to get to some of those interesting ones on the next show. Anything else you want to, uh, finish, wrap up with over here?
No, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Obviously, first real live stream for me, but I thought it was great. Definitely want to do multiple of these a week. Like you said, maybe one a week where we look into like the macro technical side of Bitcoin, kind of like how I did today in the overall crypto market. And then maybe one that's more meme coin centered and that sort of stuff. And then maybe like a Q&A one. Not sure, but I think as we do these more, we'll be able to fine tune them and improve them each time. And so, yeah, it was pretty good turnout for the first one. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I completely agree. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna close this off over here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see you again when we see you again. Take it easy.
See you
Oh,
guys.
and also follow us on YouTube, by the way. You can see the link. It's at Bloodboy ERC. We also stream at YouTube at the same time, and we'll be adding more platforms as well. And Storm will be also streaming to his platforms from the same stream on the next one as well. Just had a little technical difficulties. So follow along, and you can see us on all those different platforms.